Huh. Okay, I have two things that my brain like was thinking while I was going through this whole thing, right? It was cause I going through this with since November, I think. Um, yeah, my mind leading towards forgive him and move on, thing like that, cause he apologized and so on, and he claimed it was because he was hurt by the breakup, so he was just being an asshole in general. That's why, right? And I was
I
like,
feel like that
but
what you say hurt people.
hurt people, yeah. So, but I say, like, then that means you just fucking immature. Because when we broke up, my first idea wasn't to go and talk shit about you behind your back and make fun of your issues. Because I know all of his issues, and I could have done that, but I wouldn't do something like that. Why would do somebody to that like that? So that is how I see it. Because if I could put myself in his shoes, I would never do that to somebody. I wouldn't even do that to a friend, right? I have plenty of my friends and them who I stopped like being friends with. Like to this day, the only person you ever hear me bad talk was that Asia girl, and like, cause she genuinely is a piece of shit. Everybody else had their own issues and so on, and I will never watch down somebody or make fun of them for it or anything like that. And then I only tell one person in my entire life, right, about my issues with my mental health and things like that, and getting angry and the situation I grew up with and so on. And for that one person, dog, to do that is crazy.
So okay, Judge. As much as I was invested in the chess, I was actually listening to the story.
I'm losing.
Dog, I
Or
thought he was
shut up,
pointing belt to
shut
ass.
up, dog, shut up,
Hey,
dog, shut up, dog, shut up, dog.
I thought he was
Dog, I
pointing
make a
belt to
freaking
ass.
dog. I should have just not said nothing in the dog. I make a blunder, dog. Dog, I just had to focus when I'm fighting good people, boy. They want a real good boy. I didn't lose. I pull it out to a draw. I pull it out to a draw. So I didn't
Oh,
actually lose it. So.
oh, Jay, and the next part about it, I think, is I know it for a fact. I'm not so sure how much I believe in it anymore. I know for a fact that I have at least one good man out there for me. That is what I thinking, right? So my brain going in two
What's
ways.
being on my
Forgive,
dogs? What being on my dogs?
Of
no,
course.
I no, never mind. That is
What Jasmine said, never mind. I am a very good man. Eh? I am a very good man. That is all I
nah.
have to say.
You could be a good man to your own standards. The kind of man I want would be a man to the standard that I want. I would want a man who, would believe or agree with the values and everything that I have, same way you would want a woman with that certain thing. So even though you could be a good man, I am talking about a good man for me. That's how I see it, right? So, or same thing with Suraj. Suraj, I see Suraj as a good man. Would I ever be with Suraj? No. We have different mindsets and things like that. We don't really have different views and everything like that. All in that is the same and goals is the same. But just mindset and the way it does interact with somebody, like, when you could live with somebody and you know you will be comfortable with this person, you could show your real self with this person. Like, right, I know I can't really do that with Suraj because he does live up to like this really proper standard, and I am not really a proper person all the time to say. So that is something I can't do personally. So it's like that. Anybody could be a good man or
I
woman. You just
Jasmine.
have to find a person.
Jasmine. Let me drop some dad law on you. Eh?
Oh boy,
Some more?
Let me drop some dad law on you.
Oh
And
my
these are
god.
exactly why Barry and them they say that I basically the oldest in the group because I
Yeah,
just sound like
uncle.
a old man on that
Yeah,
song.
uncle, we know.
Yeah, I sound like a uncle. I'm not gonna lie, right? I understand where you're coming from. Before I get to that whole dating scenario, because I feel like I had to somewhat alter your view on that because you have the right idea, but you're pushing it a little hard, right? But before that nigga I was dealing with before, don't waste your time going back there, right? Because as much as you like that guy, and as much as you might want to try and make it work and thing, let me be real. If, let me say, me, for instance, they do you something like that, you would have a second thought again back into a relationship with me?
That is the thing. To me, it depends on. That is a fully dependent question. So, let me say, by some chance, me and you was together, cause, like, as I know you
Hmm.
know who you are now. If you do something to me like that, I would not go back, and that is only because I would not see myself in like a long-term relationship with you. That is only why. The difference with him is that me and he agree on a lot of things, morally, political, and so on. That is the difference. We had like that future plan set
Let
and
me let
in
me
motion.
let me warp your whole reality out of that, right? That is what you call a good friend. You see, when you meet somebody that you agree with and you have in common, and you you feel like your future aligns and everything just jumping together and it feel like it's too good to be true. Most of the time, it is too good to be true. Most of the time, I'm not saying all of the time, they have something wrong with them, right? Because perfect is never really perfect. It has something wrong with them that could throw you off, and you know whether it be with me or Barry or one of your other exes and them, if they had done that shit that you would not think twice about it and you say, okay, well that bullshit, you had to take the same prerogative and the same mindset with this person. Because love is blinding. And people that say it, but they don't really see it now, boy. Like they don't understand what it means. Love is blinding. And what you mean by love is blinding is that you would, you, not even other people, you would cover your eyes to things that the person you love would do, right? And try to move on and work because you're in love with this person. And that is not always the thing. Because one, I know niggas, I'm telling you, Jasmine, I hear you talking about oh how he was crying and apologized and he seemed so sincere. I know niggas that cry on the phone with a girl lying right next to theirs. Right?
That's reason.
I know niggas that is actually it is crazy.
Jay, you
It
doing
is
this or what?
genuinely crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, Barry. Yes, Barry. I know niggas that would I know niggas that would um literally force build tears and come and say, oh, they apologize and they was going through this and thing and that and
Yeah,
this
but
and that and whatever,
you
whatever,
can't do
whatever,
that, you know.
right?
What forcing tears
And
and lying
they
like that?
would
You can't do that.
they,
Yeah, man.
they would pretend to take accountability by saying like, oh, I did this wrong and I did that wrong and I did this wrong. And then they can hear them say, but, right? And then after the but, they would start saying, it's only because you did this to me and I was
I
feeling like
know.
this, or
Listen, I know about that butt thing, and that is something that I personally look for in like the apology and so on here, right? It had none of that. That is what tripped him off. Because in my head, I was thinking, the second I see any sort of excuse, because to me that's an excuse, because he could be like, I was a terrible person, but, and to me that but neglects everything you just say before. And I'm telling you, it had none of it.